Hi, everybody. Russ on the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well. Happy Thursday. It's downhill now. Hump Day's gone. It's Thursday all the way down to the weekend. West Ham versus Spurs, 4:30 on Sunday at 3 Point Lane. Looking forward to it. Hammers headlines in association with the KUMB.com boys. At lunchtime today, I had a rant about VAR. So let me know what you think in the comments of that video. But we have Hammers headlines in association with the KUMB.com boys. Check out the forum, the YouTube channel, obviously the website for all the news. It's all in one. Very, very good news and the latest information and the latest views from fans all over the world. Not just in the UK, but all over the world. Over 25 years they've been going. So they must be doing something right. 3 stories. One to do with the Spurs game. One to do with sort of the Spurs game, but maybe the Forest game, maybe. And one a transfer rumour. So let's start with the Spurs game chat. So obviously, Chelsea game, bit of it. Obviously, we got a point. Maybe should have got all 3, but in terms of injuries, bit of a disaster. In all honesty, the likes of Naif going off, Paqueta going off, that compounds other injuries we've had. We had Areola, who's since come back to training. Zuma, Cornet, Skamaka, all sort of a little bit injured. And the first 2 of that list, Paqueta and Aguerd, both had scans this week. Now, according to Paqueta on his own Instagram, it's not as bad as we thought. So it doesn't look like he's it looks like it's a recurrence of the same injury. I don't think obviously his collarbone injury, I think it was. It doesn't. I think it's something about ligaments, and it won't. It could have been a lot worse. Apparently, it was weeks, not months, that both were going to be back in contention for the first team. Now, weeks could mean 1 week, could mean 10 weeks. We don't know. But anything more than 3 weeks is a month. So I don't really know. So they don't really know what's going on in terms of, particularly Paqueta, in terms of a timeline. Or maybe they're withholding information, maybe. But according to XWHU employee, X says that Naif's scan came back and it was only, quote, the scan showed little damage, and so much so that they are actually potentially optimistic that he will be back in the side for the Spurs game on Sunday. Whether it was I think it was his groin he went for a scan with, but as I said, it shows minimal, very small damage there, very little damage. So hopefully that would mean that he could potentially be back in contention for the Spurs game. We need him. We do need him. Our upturning form is no small part down to his performances in terms of that foundation of a solid defence, and then that sort of permeates the rest of the side. Now, for me, it seemed a similar situation to the Tile Kira situation for the Newcastle game, where he came off at half time because he felt his hammy rather than him play on. As soon as Aguerd felt something, they took him off. And so we'll see if come 3:30, when the teams are announced on Sunday, hopefully Mr. Aguerd will be in the squad. You may find out a bit more with David Moyes' press conference tomorrow, which we'll cover with Football London. So check that out. But I'll be surprised if Moyes reveals his hand in that respect. Same as the training. We had the training video released yesterday, and there was no Declan Rice, no Aaron Cresswell. There's about half a dozen players missing. Again, I think a little bit of that's kidsmanship as well, to be fair. But we shall see. We can only look back at the Tilo Kira sort of conversation over the weekend. On Friday, he's out. He's not going to be playing. He's not going to make the squad. And then literally that day, West Ham released training video or training sort of photo shots. He's in the group. He's in the training. And then he ends up starting. He comes off the pitch. He comes off the coach on Saturday and starts. And plays 90 minutes. So I think we need to put a few of these. Paqueta, maybe not so. I think that to me seems more of a genuine thing. But I think, again, not a genuine injury, but more of a long-term injury, maybe a couple of weeks. But hopefully we might see Aguerd back in the fold for the Tottenham game. And we need him. Talking about another injury, we're talking about Maxwell Cornet. He came back a couple of weeks ago for a assessment on his mystery illness, mystery injury. Something which, a very rare injury, which is consultant had only seen once in the last 25 years or something like that. He actually came back and was deemed about 60-70% fit, and then went back to France. And apparently he is due to return back on Friday and report to training on Friday, with the hope that he will be fit enough to go into full time training. Full team training. Yeah, that's one. So I think the Spurs game is too much, but maybe a week of full training under his belt, maybe on the bench for the Forest game. Who knows? Who knows? But as we said, he's been seeing a specialist in France. He's been doing his rehabilitation. Unfortunately, he did catch a virus earlier this week, which sort of curtailed. He may have been over maybe a bit earlier, maybe than Friday. But we don't know whether it's the same virus as Cresswell and Deck had. But that'd be luck, innit? He literally comes back for one day and catches a virus from the squad. But anyway, we'll see what happens. But maybe he's on the way back, and that'll be like a new signing, definitely a new signing. We know what he can bring when he's fit, and so hopefully we can get him fit for this last third of the season, basically. Also, in terms of Spurs, quickly, let's talk about Spurs quick. They've got a number of key players out for the game on Sunday. We know Hugo Lloris. We know he's out for about 6 to 8 weeks. We know Bentancur's out for the rest of the season with an ACL. We know Bissouma's having an ankle surgery, I think, or something like that. Ryan Sessegnon's out, but also another player, or another figure in Spurs who won't be in the dugout is Antonio Conte. He was in the dugout for the Milan 1-0 defeat on Tuesday. And he was also in the dugouts for the Spurs loss to Leicester. But he will stay in Italy to rest after he's recovering from gallbladder surgery, which took place at the beginning of February. And on Twitter, the Spurs website said, following a routine post-operation check-in Italy yesterday, Antonio Conte will remain at his family home to recover from his recent injury. Health is the most important consideration, and everyone in the club wishes him well. He revealed after his side defeat to Leicester that he'd been advised by doctors to rest for 15 days post-operation. And obviously he returned at the weekend, and clearly that hasn't helped him out a bit. And so he's not going to be in the dugout. He'll be replaced by, well, not replaced, but he'll be his assistant, which will be Stefani. He's the assistant manager. He'll be taking the spot of him on the old dugout. So that's someone who ain't going to be there as well. And finally, just a transfer rumour story. We haven't done one for a while. It's all about injuries at the moment, isn't it? But apparently, West Ham allegedly interested in signing Sevilla goalkeeper Bono, who we would have remembered from our exploits in the Europa League last season. Apparently, we're looking at him in the summer. The Spanish media outlet AS, in Spanish, ASE, probably, claim that West Ham are challenging Spurs and Man United to the 31-year-old signature. If the report is true, what's that going to do with Areola? That's what I don't understand. Obviously, Areola is 29, Bono's 31. Areola was linked with a loan move out to Ligue 1 side Lorient, but that didn't materialise. He was obviously got injured. I imagine he'll be back between the sticks for the Man United game in the FA Cup 5th round, and then possibly the Europa League, Europa Conference League, which will be the 8th and 16th. Is that right? Yeah, 8th and 6th. No, that's not right. 8th and 9th and 16th of March in terms of the ties. The home tie will be the 16th of March. But apparently, the AS claim that Bono has interest in West Ham. Obviously, Moroccan international, obviously knows Aguerd very, very well. So there's a partnership there. You can understand that. Apparently, he's got a £44 million release clause in his current contract. So, and apparently, he was looking to people had interest in him at the weekend. During the January transfer window, and he decided not to sign because he wanted to help Sevilla in their plight, so to speak, this season. Experienced goalkeeper, good shot stopper. He's You know, he's a big presence, commanding presence, would suit definitely the Premier League in terms of that sort of size of goalkeeper. But then Areola, you know, if you lined them up, I'd say he's a much better goalkeeper. But he's on 120 grand a week, and he's not playing week in, week out. So there's definitely something there. There's some issue there with him. You know, if Moyes is supposedly in for Bono, then surely Areola faces an uncertain future at London Stadium. And I wouldn't think that Areola would want to necessarily come into a situation again where he's got, in essence, two competing number ones. You know, Fabianski still has the end of this season plus a year option actually on his contract. So whether they exercise that is another thing, but maybe they see Bono and Areola as, I mean, it's a great two for the fans, having two extremely experienced goalkeepers as number ones is great, but I can't see it happening. Surely. So does that mean Areola's out the door, or does it mean this Bono link is crap? Probably the latter, I reckon. But anyway, we aggregate the news and bring you what's been reported, and that's it, guys. So take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble. Busy day on the channel tomorrow with the Lunch Day Live. We've got all the press conference stuff. We'll have the previews. We'll have the Predicted 11 show. And then we'll have on Sunday the watch along and all the fallout from that. So take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble. Come on, you Irons. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care.